I have heard a lot of these marriages where two people are married, but they live in different houses. She lives in her house and he lives in her house. So they're both married, husband and wife, they're both married. It's just that he lives in his house, she lives in her house. And they have children together because they're married, they're husband and wife, and they're married, so they have children together. They have children together and they're married. They're married and so they have children together, but the thing is they are husband and wife with their own children. But the wife, like I said, has her own house and she lives in her own house. And the guy that she's married to has his own house and he lives in his own house. But one day he goes, visits her and the kids. And another day she comes to his house and visits the kids. And they have their reasons why they do this. I mean, some is financial, some for other reasons. So that's a kind of marriage that I figure would be right for me because I'm not able to live in the same house as a wife. I'm not able to live in the same building, same house as a wife. So she would have to live in her house, and I would have to live in my own house if I ever married a wife. And the reason being, there's a physical reason why. In my case, it's a physical reason why I would have to live in my own house and she would have to live in her house. One day she sends the kids to me to take care of them. Now that day I send the kids to her that she takes care of them. We would take turns. One day she sends the kids to visit me. One day I send the kids to visit her. We have to do this because if we were to get married, this is the only way I could do it for right now because of my physical condition. But if my physical condition never improved, I would be living in the same house as her. I would be living in the same house as her if my physical condition ever improved. I have a physical condition where I'm not able to live in the same house as her. So I would not be able to live in the same building or the same house as my wife if I got married and had my own wife and kids. If I got married and I had my own wife and my own kids, I would not be able to live in the same house as her for now because of a physical condition I have. I have a physical condition. But if that physical condition ever proves, me and her will live in the same house together with the kids. If my physical condition ever improved. And I'm kind of hoping and praying to the Messiah that my physical condition will improve. This way, her and we could live in the same house together if my physical condition would only improve. But because my physical condition is the way that it is, I'm not able to live in the same house as her. And she wouldn't be able to live in the same house as me. I'd have to live in my own house. She would have to live in her own house. She would have to live in her own house. And I would have to live in my own house. But I still love her, and I would take care of the kids to the best of my abilities. I would take care of the kids as best as I can to the best of my abilities. And I would love her because she'd be my wife. So I would really love her. It's just that, it's just for now. For now, I would have to live in my own house just for now. And if my physical condition ever got better, and I'm hoping that it would be no more than 4 to 5 years, and my physical condition to improve, and that's when me and the wife would live in the one house together with the kids. But for now, because of my physical condition, and I wish to still marry her, because I love her, and I love the kids we'd have together. I would love the kids we would have together. I would love them, and I would love the wife, and I would take care of the kids to the best of my abilities, the best that I possibly can. But it's just that for right now, I'd have to live in my own house, and she'd have to live in her house for right now. And I'm hoping that this about 4 years. I would have to live maybe in my own house for 4 years. 4 years I could not live in the same house as her. She would have lived 4 years in her house without me, and I would have to live 4 years in my house without her. But I'm hoping that after 4 years my physical condition gets better, and I can live in the same house as her, because she would be my wife, and then I'd have my kids with her. I'd have my sons and daughters with her, and I'm really hoping that. But that's what they call, and it seems to be catching on now. A new kind of marriage seems to be catching on now, and people do it for financial reasons. Well, number one with me it would be a very physical reason, but then there's a financial reason. But I would have to live on my own in my own house. Hopefully for 4 years, no more than 4 or 5 years. No more than that. And then I could live in the same house as her and the kids. But she would live in her house, I would live in my house, and I would take care when the kids come to my house. I would take care of her to the best of my abilities, and I would take care of the kids to the best of my abilities. I will send food, supplies, money, whatever I would help. But even if I can help physically, I'll come to her house so I can help her to the best I can physically. But then at nighttime, I'd have to return back to my own house. It's a new kind of a marriage arrangement that it seems to be catching on now. It's what they call married but living apart. That means that the husband and the wife are married, but for some reasons it could be financial. In my case, it's physical and financial. In my case, it's physical and financial, but there are reasons why that woman, the wife, lives in her own house, and the husband lives in his own house. The husband lives in his own house, and the wife lives in her own house. It's kind of a brand new modern marriage that seems to be really catching on, and I think it's good for people. That it's not good to live the rest of your life that way, but for as long as you possibly need it. It's not good to live like that forever if possible, but for as long as you possibly need. And when you don't need it no more, then you and her should live in one house with the kids. But it's a new marriage called we're married, but we're living in two separate different dwellings. It's where the husband is living in his own house and the wife's living in her own house. The wife lives in her own house and the husband lives all in his own house. And in my case, I'd have to live that way for, I'm hoping, no more than 5 years tops. Then after 5 years, my physical condition, I'm hoping that it will get better. And that way, I will be living in the same house as her with the kids.